Before everything gets crazy with the end of the year, with the holidays coming up, let's take a second, check in, make sure we're setting our intentions for December so we can finish out 2025 as the best version of ourselves. Welcome back to Mind Body Mel. If you're new here, I'm Mel. Every month I like to do these resets and we kind of recap all my favorite books and media from the month, what goals I was working on. This fall, I started the personal curriculum trend and it has truly been transformative for me. Each month I just go through what happened that month, whether it did or it didn't happen, and then we turn our sights to the new month and set all of our habits, all of our goals, and our curriculum updates. And it's a really fun time, so I hope you stick around. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any uploads. And I'm really excited to talk about December this month. I know we're at the end of the year. I know it can feel really easy to just want to coast for the rest of the year, say we'll circle back in January, but I really like keeping some momentum in December so it doesn't feel like this giant mountain and hurdle in January when you're trying to start all of these new goals. You do have all of that excitement of the new year, but why not make it a little bit easier for yourself and make December kind of your practice run? We're going to recap all of that. We'll get to December, but first let's go over November. Okay, I lied. Actually, a quick housekeeping. Right now on my website, all of my Mind Body Herbals teas and my ebooks are on sale. I don't want you to miss it. The sale is going to end Tuesday, December 2nd. So make sure you get on there. I'm going to be doing an entire series on setting New Year's goals, New Year's intentions, and it really is centered around the Mind Body Reset Journal. So I wanted to just put it out there. We're going to be talking about it more, but if you want to save a little bit on it, make sure you check that out now. Now we'll get into November. By far the biggest thing that happened this month was I finished The Artist Way. If you don't know what The Artist Way is, it is a 12-week course that is notorious for being really hard to finish, but it's all about unblocking your creativity. And I have started and stopped and had to restart 3 times now. I think this is the 3rd time I've done it and the only time I finished. I'm so happy that I did this process, and I'm so happy I did it right now. Like, this was the time I really needed it. I do feel like the book finds you at different parts in your life, and sometimes it's exactly what you needed, and for me it really was. I do have an entire series that breaks down each week all of my reflections, so you can check that out next. But overall, just an incredible experience. I highly recommend it to anyone to put it on your 2026 goals or to start it now. It helps me work through creative burnout. I feel like I have so much better habits now that I'm not going to end up in that same cycle again. Or if I do, I have a tool that will work for me to get out of it. Morning pages are just going to be a part of who I am now, and I absolutely have fallen in love with them and starting my morning in that way. And I'm just really proud of myself for carving out that time. It wasn't easy to wake up earlier to get those pages done. I really made it my main priority that this was something that was so important to me, so important to my creativity. And I feel like I have a real relationship now with my creativity. Again, highly recommend. It was a big part of my November, so that's one of the things that really stuck out. Another thing that was really fun was that I filmed my journal ecosystem, and y'all are planner and journal freaks just like I am. Really enjoyed that. Had so much fun talking to you guys about what planners and journals you like to use, how you use them, and I definitely think I'm going to be integrating some more journaling content in 2026. I am feeling a little bit of an identity crisis with this YouTube channel. I'm just going to be really honest with you guys. The past 2 years I've really been focused on educational content surrounding mental health, holistic mental health, anxiety. When I was posting on TikTok, I felt really stuck in a niche of just talking about anxiety. And this past year, this first year I've been on YouTube, I've really just let myself make whatever video I wanted to make, and also whatever you guys wanted to see, and just kind of wanted to see where it took me. And it definitely seems like more lifestyle, more like what self-care actually looks like in my life is something that's resonating with you guys because you can see yourself in that content. So it's definitely making me rethink things. I am going to put a form down below where you guys can just submit topic ideas, and maybe if you have any feedback on my channel, what videos you really like to see, if you would rather see more, vlog style, or if you like these just casual sit down videos. I definitely want to hear from you and what you want to see from my channel. I am very passionate about mental health and about naturopathic medicine, but I think that kind of bleeds into everything that I do. And for me right now in my mental health, like working on my hobbies and my creativity, that have been things that are way better than any supplement or herb, honestly, for my mental health. So that's what I'm really enjoying talking about, and it seems like you guys do too. So let me know. Please submit the form. It won't take very long at all, and it'll really help me out as I'm right now planning 2026, especially January, February content. As far as November media, this month I read 5 books, 3 fiction, 2 nonfiction. One of them was The Artist's Way because I did finish it. I read that whole book. I've been reading it for 3 months, but I finished it this month, so we're counting it. The other nonfiction book was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and I'm going to talk about that more when I go over my curriculum. As far as the fiction books go, these were all really solid reads. I finished The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong, which I talked about a little bit last month. It did take me a while to get through it. There were some really heavy themes, a lot of grief, really cool magic system in it. It was a fantasy book, and I gave it a 4 star, but I will say that I have thought about that book almost every day since I finished reading it. Like, it's really stuck with me, the characters and their story, so I would definitely recommend it. I would just go into it knowing it can be a kind of a heavy book. Then, because that book was so heavy, I picked up Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, which was a really lovely, fun, light time. I haven't been as drawn to romance this year or more lighter reads, but I really like B.K. Borison's writing. And this was fun. I almost wish I had saved it for December, so if you're watching this is the perfect time to read this. The male love interest is the ghost of Christmas Past. I saw Good Spirits and I thought it was going to be more like Halloween, so I thought November was going to be a good time to read it. This is Christmas Spirits, so now is the perfect time to read it. I really enjoyed it. I'd also recommend her Love Light Farm series. First one takes place on a Christmas tree farm, so that would be another good book to read in December. And then the big one. I just finished this last night, Strength of the Few. I loved Will of the Many. I think that was in my October reset. I talked about that, so you can go back and listen. This is the sequel, Strength of the Few, in the Hierarchy series. It is a thick one, and this was incredible. I honestly think this is one of my favorite fantasy. This one veered a little bit more sci-fi. One of my favorite series though, and I'm really looking forward to see how it progresses. I'm not exactly sure how many books are going to be in this series, but this was a great sequel. I will say I definitely enjoyed Will of the Many more. This story was a little bit more straightforward and easy to follow than this one. This is definitely more of a challenging read. I would recommend reading it in a physical copy because I was flipping constantly back to the glossary. There's a list of locations, there's a list of character names, and I found that essential to read this book. I don't want to go too much into it because basically the whole book is a spoiler for the first one, and if you haven't read that yet, but there are multiple point of views in this book, and sometimes I didn't want one to end because then it would be 50 pages before we got back to that story. So it was easier if I could just like sit down for 2 hours and get a good chunk of the book done. Like, just reading it 20 minutes at night was kind of confusing because I'd have to go back, reread what happened in that last section. And yeah, so there were a little bit of pacing issues. Structurally, it was kind of harder to follow, but I am completely obsessed with this world and the whole political structure, the hierarchy. This book really explored ideas of morality in really fascinating ways, so I cannot recommend the Hierarchy series enough. And I know there's some of you who listened to my recommendation of Will of the Many and enjoyed it too, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on Strength of the Few. As far as TV, movies, and music, favorite TV by far this whole fall has been Dancing with the Stars. I have been clocked in on Tuesdays. Really enjoyed this season so much. Honestly, everybody in the finale was amazing. I was really rooting for Alex, but I'm so happy Robert won too. Jordan's freestyle, Elaine's freestyle, Dylan's, honestly the entire night was incredible, and I'm really gonna miss it every week. It was nice to have something to tune into. Everybody was talking about it, everybody was excited, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope they bring back 2 seasons a year. Movies, I did see Wicked for Good, which I was really excited to see. I think they did a good job with it. To me, it is not as good of a movie as the first one. I don't think anything will top that. And I do kind of wish that they had made the movie just like a long 3-hour movie, because I feel like there were a lot of things in the second movie that were a little unnecessary and it kind of dragged. And in the musical, you know, the second act has always been weaker, and all the best songs in Wicked are really the first act. So I think the ways that they rounded out the story were really helpful. It kind of cleared up some things I was always confused about in the musical. And obviously Cynthia and Ari are just incredible, like the perfect Glinda and Elphaba. Honestly, I'm probably going to see it again in theaters, so I didn't really enjoy it. It just wasn't as good as the first one to me. I'm curious if you've seen it, what you thought. And then music, I have been listening to Kelsey Ballerini's Mount Pleasant EP on repeat. It's just 6 songs. It's really quick. I find her to be an amazing songwriter and just really compelling storytelling. Definitely recommend you check that out. Let's go through my November curriculum now, my intentions, and see how well I did this month. But we're going to switch to the overhead, so I'll see you there. Okay, this was our November curriculum and November intentions. Let's actually start with the habits because I want to talk to you about my new morning routine. So my habits for November were to focus on the daily activations. This is an audio affirmations, visualization, meditation type app. It really helps me to be in a more positive mood, so I really wanted to prioritize it this month, and I definitely did. 8K steps a day, building morning momentum, the water pick, and then prioritizing protein. So I was aiming for over 100 grams of protein. I definitely did this. I definitely didn't do this. I got out the water pick, so that's a step forward. I maybe did it once a week. I don't know why this is so hard for me to do. I just really don't enjoy it, and then I don't do it. But that's not good, and I do want to work on that next year. I would say the biggest thing that changed for me was creating this morning momentum. So in the artist's way, you have to do these daily morning pages, and I don't like waking up early at all. So I would do them in bed or sitting on the couch with my coffee and my dog. And I just realized that it wasn't starting my day off the way I wanted it to. I wasn't really creating any momentum. I ended up kind of cleaning off the writing desk in my room, and I have been sitting at my writing desk in the morning to do my morning pages, and that was absolutely transformative. First of all, it was taking me an hour when I was in bed to get these morning pages done, and then it would take me 20 minutes at the writing desk. So I just had so much more time in the morning. And since I was already giving myself an hour in the morning to myself to fill my cup, I was dedicating that to the morning pages. I was like, okay, well, let's use this hour. If this is only taking 20 minutes now, what do I want to stack onto it? So I ended up reading 15 pages of nonfiction and then working on the herbal business course, which we'll talk about from my curriculum. And then I worked on getting caught up on my 5-year journal, which was on my bucket list. And it was the same amount of time, but I was stacking all of these different habits, building all of this momentum, filling my cup. I was focused on things I wanted to learn about, and it has felt so good. I can't even tell you the difference it has made on my mood throughout the day, on my motivation, my ability to get things done. I feel like it has helped me to trust myself to do what I say I'm gonna do, and I genuinely look forward to it. I used to have such a snooze problem in the mornings, but now I'm so excited to do that routine that I literally don't even press snooze anymore. It's crazy how in 1 month I feel like I really got that together, and just let that be motivation for you, whatever you're working on. Sometimes you just need to lock in. Sometimes you just need to completely change the environment you are in, and it doesn't really take long sometimes when that's what you know you were craving. You know you needed to make a change, and then you just did it. And obviously I know these are easier said than done things. You guys see how every month is different. Sometimes I'm not very good at making these habits. Like, let's not talk about the water pick again. So we are gonna take this win that I really feel like I figured out how I want my mornings to look, and I created that momentum for my day. So overall habits, let's just not talk about the water pick, were really good this month. On my bucket list, I already talked about, I did see Wicked for Good. Go for a hike. Okay, this was like a walk in the woods. It was a paved path. It wasn't really a hike. I did fully miss the fall foliage I was hoping to see on a hike. We are straight into stick season now, but I did go on a very long walk in the woods, so I counted it. Caught up in 5-year journal. Yes, I did. I actually can't believe I did this month because I had about 175 entries I needed to get caught up in. I had an insane year last year. It was not my best mental health year. I ended up moving quicker than I thought I was going to move, and the way that the year ended last year was just kind of chaotic because I moved in January of 2025 cross country. So there were a lot of things at the end of the year that I normally do. Like, I would have normally gotten caught up on the full year of this so I could enter a new year feeling fresh. It just didn't happen. So this year I had to get caught up on both 2024 and 2025 in my 5-year journal. If you watched my journal ecosystem video, you know this is my very personal diary. This is what happened that day, and it's just a record of what is going to be the first 5 years of my 30s. I started this on my 30th birthday, and I'm in my 2nd year of it now. Absolutely recommend it if you're looking to get into journaling and just documenting your life. It's now going to be so much easier for me to stay up to date with this because I only right now have to do 1 entry a day and not 15, which was what I was doing to get caught up. So I'm really proud of myself for getting caught up on that. Make an elaborate dessert. I did do this. I, for Thanksgiving, made caramel apple blondies that were absolutely delicious. If you don't already, you need to follow Restaurant Dropout. Her first name's Zoe. I will link her down below. She has an incredible Substack that I subscribe to where she does weekly meal plans. She used to work in a restaurant, and she kind of teaches you how to do 1 day of prep, and then you can eat different meals every day based on that ingredient prep that you did. But sometimes she'll just put out dessert recipes, and this was one of hers. It was so good. Everybody was going back for seconds at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. And I love making a multi-step dessert. Like I had to make the caramel, I had to make the blondie. Like I like when I have to get out a pencil and have the recipe printed out and like mark things off so I'm keeping track of things. I know that might not be fun for other people, but to me, that is very fun. Decide and buy my 2026 planners. I did do that, and we'll talk about this in December, but I'm gonna show you what I got. And then watch a fall movie. I did do that. I watched When Harry Met Sally, which I had never seen. It was cute. I don't know if I would watch it again, honestly, but I feel like it's a classic and I had never seen it, so I watched that. Moving on to the curriculum. So like I talked about, I did finish The Artist's Way. I finished the entire book. I'm so happy. This is a book that I know I'm going to be returning to again and again and again, honestly, like maybe once a year. It has been so transformative for me. I did listen to The Bare Minimum Artist's Way some weeks just to get somebody else's perspective on the material. And then I finished filming, but I haven't finished editing the last video in the series. There's 4 total for The Artist's Way. I kind of did chunks of 3 weeks recapping my experience with it. So this was a very successful course. This has been on my curriculum since September. It's both nice and sad that this won't be moving forward. It was just an incredible experience though. Craft Roulette. This was a fun one that I added last month because I just felt like I have all these different hobbies. I didn't know what crafts I wanted to work on. It was like there were so many different choices. When it came down time to sit and actually craft, I didn't know what to pick. So I was like, okay, I'll make this little jar and pull out a different craft each week, and that'll be what I worked on. What ended up happening was when I would go to pick something out of the jar, I'd be like, oh, I really hope it's diamond gem painting, or oh, I really hope it's working on my creative journal. I'm like, okay, well then just do that. Like the whole point of the craft jar was like, I can't decide, but it was like the moment of going to pick, I knew what I wanted. So I didn't really end up picking things, but I did do this every week. I did work on a craft every week, and that was a lot of fun. I'm glad I tried this. I'm glad I realized, maybe execution wise, this wasn't for me. I do think it's a good idea. Like if you're feeling a little analysis paralysis with things, at least when you go to pick, you'll know what you really wanted to do. So it ends up working and doing the same function. Traditions of Nature. This is another one that's been on here for a while. I wanted to complete, I have an herbal business course. If you don't know, my company, Mind Body Herbals, I make different herbal products. Right now it's a line of teas, but in 2026, I'm really hoping to expand to tinctures and syrups and different products. And I just felt like I needed a little bit more nitty gritty, more than what I learned in school, what I've kind of like pieced together on my own. And this course has been awesome. It is also a lot more detailed than I was anticipating. I was really hoping I'd finish it this month, and I worked on it almost every day in the morning, like I talked about with my morning routine, and I'm about 60% of the way done. I'm hoping I can finish this in December. It might be January. Honestly, I just want to get out of it what I want to get out of it. So I'm not trying to rush through it. I'm taking my time. I'm taking handwritten notes. I have about 60 pages of handwritten notes right now, and it is very good. So I'm working on it. I did not do any herbal gifts. That was a little ambitious of me. I didn't even think about doing that. So that didn't happen. N of 1 Up Level. This was a personal development course essentially. And I read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I have a lot of thoughts about this book and I would love to hear yours. I have heard great things about this book, and I've also heard not great things about people's opinions on Dr. Joe Dispenza. I ended up rating this 3 out of 5 stars. I think if maybe I had read this book earlier into my personal development, spirituality journey, this might have been more groundbreaking. I do feel like he uses his angle of being a doctor and talking about some of these neuroscience topics and grossly exaggerates them. Also, a lot of the research that he cites in the back of the book is his other books, which just bothered me. I think everybody needs to find their experts, their people that they look up to that really resonate with them. Sometimes it's not that unique of an idea. It just needs to be said in a certain way for it to really click with you. Like I've had that happen so many different times. I feel like The Artist's Way really clicked for me. Like the way she was saying things really worked. And I know other people don't like that book as much. This just really didn't work for me. And I will tell you that I was really enjoying it until about halfway through. Halfway through the book, he then talks about this whole meditation process, and you have to buy those meditations, which just really bothered me. And I had a hard time getting past that, where I was like, I already bought your book and now you're wanting me to spend $40 on your meditations. I'm just like, it's kind of annoying to me. And I've read other meditation books, and usually they'll include like a free meditation for, buying the book or something. He does give you the scripts, and I did try like recording myself saying it, but I couldn't get past listening to my voice when I was trying to meditate. I just kind of feel like I don't need to read any more of his books. Would I recommend it to someone else? Maybe. Like if people were really looking for different ways to manifest and meditate and just wanted a different perspective. I know so many people who this is like their favorite book. It just really didn't work for me. But if it's your favorite book, I love that for you. And if it, helped you to be the best version of yourself, that's what I'm all about. And this was one. I'm glad I read it because it's been recommended so many times, but not for me in the end. And then lastly, my Science of Moving Well. This is my PE credit. I did take a deload week, so I took a week off from my strength workouts. I do have an autoimmune disease, and the past year I've really been focusing on improving my strength, my muscle, my overall fitness level. And I've realized that taking these periodic weeks after about 8 weeks of work of doing strength training, taking 1 week off, means that I do not flare and I'm able to continue moving well. In the past, I've always flared after a number of weeks, and then it takes me, months sometimes to recover. I do have a video on my whole chronic illness and exercise experience, so I'll link that next. But yeah, I really recommend taking, for anyone, even just injury prevention. I feel like it's really helpful. And then starting 3-day split, I think when I wrote this, I was gonna do Rebecca Kennedy's 3-day split, and then the next day on Peloton, Katie Wong came out with like an unofficial split. So I ended up doing that. It was nice to do something completely different, have a different instructor. I do really love Rebecca Kennedy. I just think her programs are amazing. But it was fun to have Katie in my ear, have a different structure. It was more circuit training than straight sets. And it was a really nice change of pace. And then of course the 8K steps daily, which I did almost every day. So that was November. I feel like overall, we're not talking about the water pick. I really feel like I figured out the curriculum more, besides sometimes I throw on some crazy things that I don't actually have the time to do. I feel like I have a better understanding of what time I have in a day, how much time per week I'm going to be able to devote to it. And these all felt a lot more realistic and achievable, and I did achieve them, which is a great feeling. So let's move into December. Okay, so this is the December intentions and curriculum. Let's start again with the intentions. So every month I've been picking a word of the month. This month I decided to put this quote here, "Be where your feet are." It's just kind of a mindfulness reminder. I don't know about you, but I always feel like December is the hurry up to relax month. Like, let's shove everything in before December 24th, and then everything really slows down. And going into the month tomorrow, today's November 30th when I'm filming, I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed with what's on my plate, and I want to remind myself to stay calm, to stay present, try and release that anxiety. That's not the energy I want to bring to this month. Habits are going to be my tried and trues this month. What I know makes me feel good, I am going to continue the morning pages even though I finished The Artist's Way. I might not be as strict with the 3 pages, though now that I'm getting them done in 20 minutes, it's like, why not? I did have a few days where I didn't do them. I just wasn't able to get them done during the day, and I just noticed such a big difference on the way I show up. I feel like the morning pages are a great space for me to process, to know how I'm feeling in that moment, to get out all my complaining, and then I'm able to be more positive the rest of the day. I'm able to be more focused on what I'm doing, more present with the people around me. It's just been an amazing practice for me. Then I'm gonna read 15 pages of nonfiction. I read every single day, but this year I really wanted to get back into reading nonfiction after primarily reading only fiction. 15 pages for me usually takes 15 to 20 minutes, so that's a very doable amount of time in the morning. 5-year journal and creative journal. So like I mentioned, I got completely caught up on my 5-year journal. I'm just putting this on here to not fall behind again and finish out the year strong with that. I really like the habit of that morning writing down what happened the day before. I can pick out either one thing that was super memorable that I want to note, or exactly what I did that day. And honestly, it takes me about 1 to 2 minutes to do that, so really easy. You'll see on my bucket list, I'm really focusing on finishing out my creative journal. So I want to spend 10 to 15, maybe even 20 minutes a day getting caught up on that. Again, my activations and my 8,000 steps, these are habits that I feel like I do have them. They're part of my routine. I know they make me feel better, but if I don't put them on here and continue to prioritize them, they slip. So that's why I know there's a lot of repeating, but it takes a lot of repeating to build these habits. So I just want to remind you, like, it doesn't always have to be something flashy and new. It can just be recommitting to the things that work for you. And then as far as a bucket list, these are just 5 things I want to get done during the month. These are the things that I'm always like, oh, it'd be really nice to do that. And turning them into a bucket list, checking in with them again at the end of the month, makes it a lot more likely that I'll complete them. So Top of the list is I am crocheting a gift this year for Christmas. My older brother has autism and loves carrying around stuffed animals. So I am going to crochet him this Snoopy and he's going to absolutely love it. So I'm actually going to make it for him. So I got to get to work on this. And then I also bought these little Santa accessories. He loves to put little hats and scarves around his guys. That's what he calls them, his guys. And this is a little Snoopy Santa outfit. I really have to get to work. I learned how to crochet last year. I haven't done it in a while. I'm hoping these kits will be easy to follow. Apparently they have a ton of videos. If you've done them, let me know. They're so freaking cute. I'm so excited to work on it. So I will be finishing that. I really want to go to Longwood Gardens with my mom, have a little holiday quality time with her. Longwood Gardens is like a botanical garden in the Philly area. They put lights on all the trees and everything, and you can kind of walk around and walk inside too, but they have different food vendors. It's a good time. We've talked about doing that. Now we just gotta make it happen. I also want to have a day. This might have to happen in the no man's land Christmas to New Year's time, but make a bunch of holiday cookies and just have a ton of holiday movies on, make it a whole marathon. And then I need to finish my 2025 creative journal. I have not worked on this at all in November. I usually just keep a running list throughout the month of things I want to go in this journal. I was just so focused on finishing the 5-year journal that I didn't spend as much time with this journal. Now that I'm caught up on that, for good, hopefully, it should be easier to also be up to date on this. I do think a lot of this will end up happening again after the holidays where I have a little bit more time to work on it. But I also know like April, I barely put anything in. I'm like, do I want to go back and fill some of that in? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how I'm feeling because I'm also really antsy to get into my 2026 journal. But yeah, that's definitely on the bucket list. I know myself. I know I'm not going to want to work on this in January, so it has to happen this month. And then so exciting, but I want to set up my 2026 planners. I will do a full video on this, but I'm going to show you guys because I'm so excited. So first for my creative journal, I got this beautiful mist blue. This is the exact same one as last year's, just a different color. So you can see look how crazy this is, how chonky this one is compared to this. 2024, I had the forest green. Last year was the mulberry, and then this is mist blue. She always includes this little calendar card that's so pretty. Again, these are sterling ink. It's the B6 Common Planner vertical layout full year. This is actually nice to show you guys after the journal ecosystem because this is all blank, but there's kind of a yearly overview. I use this to track my temperatures, quarterly planning. Then it kind of goes into monthlies, weeklies, and then tons of blank daily pages. And this is where I do a lot of my memory keeping and creative journaling. So there's some spreads that I just like to get set up, like my book tracker, movie tracker, and it's way easier if I can get them set up before the year starts instead of scrambling. That's how I end up getting so behind, is I start things late and then it's hard to catch up during the year. So it's nice if I can get that all set up in December. And then I was debating for work. This is technically my work planner, and it's funny because now I've been using it a lot these past couple of months. For the majority of the year, I really have barely used this, and I decided I just don't need this much space in general, and I wanted something smaller and to go back to the Hobonichi weeks, which I've used before. And I got this absolutely stunning Hobonichi weeks for 2026. This was sold out for the longest time. I had multiple tabs open on my computer that I would refresh periodically to see if it was back in stock. I finally found it at a stationery store in Portland, Oregon, after scouring a Reddit thread that said they had it in stock. And I'm pretty sure I grabbed the last one they had. I will link that stationery shop below because they were so speedy with their shipping. They had like a handwritten note too to enjoy my Hobonichi weeks. It was so sweet. But yeah, I just think this is absolutely stunning. And how pretty do these two look together? Blue is my favorite color, so it just feels right. But yeah, obviously this is a lot smaller than what I was using. This is kind of what the weekly spread looks like. You have a horizontal layout and then a blank note page. So I'm planning on doing habit trackers here and just a running to-do list. And I'm thinking I'm going to plan out content here, different appointments, whatever. And this does start tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, actually. So I'm going to play with it in December and try and figure out what I want to do for the rest of the year. And then there is some blank pages as well in the back that I might honestly do like bullet journal style for my work planner. So I'm very excited about these. And yeah, I just want December to be kind of figuring out my spreads, setting up what I can ahead of time so I can hit the ground running with my journaling and planning for 2026. Curriculum wise, I decided to go a little bit easier this month. There's just a lot going on. I've got holiday markets for my herbal products business and wrapping everything up. There's a ton of YouTube videos I want to make and I really want to prioritize that. So I've kept it pretty simple as far as my courses go. I'm just going to be doing these 3. First is the Mind Body Reset. The Mind Body Reset is a journaling challenge that I've been doing since, oh my gosh, I think this might be the 5th year I've done it. And it's 31 days of journal prompts to reflect on the past year and then reset, set your intentions for the new year. I have honed this process in over the past 5 years, and I truly believe that it will make you feel so confident going into the new year if you do this process. It's a great way to kind of close out no matter what year you had. If it was a good year, if it was a bad year, what are the lessons you want to take from it? What do you want to change? What do you want to remember? And then how do you want to feel in the next year, and what is your action plan? Like, we walk through all of those different things. So I am going to be completing the Mind Body Reset. Every year I do it, it's a little bit different. Sometimes I do truly 1 prompt a day. There's 31 prompts. Sometimes I just do the prompts for that week on the weekend. Sometimes I just, in that time after Christmas again, I will sit down and do the whole book. Right now I do want to do a prompt a day. I think that's going to be the best way moving forward, kind of looking at my month coming up. And then in the spirit of resetting, I do want to have a 2026 business strategy retreat just at home. But last year I set up my space really nice. I made it really cozy, and I just kind of took a morning to really figure out how I want my business to shift in the next year, what goals and priorities I'm going to be working on. So this is really, my patient business, my content, and then my herbal products business. So there's a lot of moving parts. I'm a little overwhelmed, honestly. There's a lot of changes I want to make in the new year, and I just need to really sit down and strategize and figure it out. Then my least favorite task, doing a digital clean out, going through the downloads folder, going through my desktop, cleaning up some of my screenshots, really trying to reset before the new year. This is so boring to me, but if I could just put on, a holiday movie and work on it on my computer, it'll be fine. And then creating a vision board. This is actually part of the Mind Body Reset journal, but just to put it on there again, I make a vision board every year, and then I usually put it, in the front of my journal. I made this one on Canva. Sometimes I've done it actually printing out pictures. I will say Canva's usually easier if you're short on time, but it's really fun to kind of print things out and paste them on a board too. I put that vision board everywhere. It's my lock screen, it's my computer background, it's in each of my planners. So that's really important to me to be able to visualize what I want. So that's the Mind Body Reset course. Then Science of Moving Well, this is my PE credit. I'm gonna do just gym 3 times a week. I'm not gonna do a specific split training program because I know that they're gonna come out with new ones in January, and I'm gonna wanna do that. So I have a ton of saved workouts on Peloton. I might just go to the gym too. Like, I definitely have the ability at this point to put myself through a workout. I just enjoy being coached and having that voice in my ear. And I kind of would like to do some more just full body workouts and not necessarily a split, just as a break from it, because I usually do split training. So I thought it would be fun to try something else. Keeping up with my 8K steps a day. And then I am going to do 15 days of the Yoga with Adriene yoga series. I'm sure everybody knows Yoga with Adriene, but she used to put out a 30-day yoga challenge every January. I think she did it for 10 years and then she stopped, but they're all still on YouTube. They're all still free. And I have just been craving stretching, especially I've realized in that morning routine. I've got a great habit stack going on, but at the end, I kind of feel a little restless, like I need some morning movement. So I'm going to try to add in a little bit of yoga. And originally I was like, I'm going to do the 30-day challenge, but I just know that this month is about to be crazy and I don't want yoga to stress me out. So my goal is to get through 15 days in December, and then I can do the other 15 in January. And honestly, because strength training really is my priority, I feel like this is the perfect amount where I'm still going to be able to prioritize strength training, stretching, and, getting my steps in too, which will just be a really nice balance, honestly. So I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, I printed it out because I'm going to give myself a sticker every day, and that will be very motivating. And then lastly, my Traditions of Nature course. I would love to finish this herbal business course that I have. I know I keep talking about it
just gonna work on it every day. Hopefully I can get through the whole thing. And then I'd like to organize my notes and make an action plan of steps that I want to take immediately in the next year, in the next 5 years. It's really kind of helping me see long term where I want my business to go. And that is everything. I feel like I've been talking forever. Hopefully this gave you a lot of good ideas, some motivation. I feel like this is a good culmination of the habits that I've been working on all year. Some ways that I'm going to wrap up this past year and set myself up for a great new year. I'm really excited next month to talk to you about my 2026 goals. That'll be a little bit of a different reset that we do. But yeah, let's finish off 2025 still working on being the best version of ourselves. Sometimes it looks a little bit different. Sometimes it's more structured. Sometimes it's a looser month, but we're still taking steps every day to be where we want to be. Please let me know down in the comments, what are the habits? What's the bucket list you've got going? And what is your curriculum for December? I love seeing what everybody else is focusing on. It gives me ideas too for my future curriculum. And yeah, let's just cheer each other on. Everybody here is so incredible and uplifting, and I love hearing about all of your unique interests.
I'm feeling really excited about December. I want to finish 2025 out strong. I feel like, especially this fall, I built some really good habits and I don't want to lose them in the holiday season. I don't want to be hard on myself, obviously, when things come up, but keep being consistent with the things that I know make me feel my best. As far as things coming up in December, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a 2-part series on getting ready for 2026. Reflecting on the past year, setting our intentions together. I'm also hoping to do like a best of 2025 and talk about my favorite books and media like I like to do of the past year. There'll be the last video in my Artist Way series, and then also the winter seasonal support guides coming out. So every season I do a traditional Chinese medicine inspired guide to living more in alignment with the seasons, making those winter blues a little bit easier. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an upload. If you want to take advantage of the gratitude sale right now going on until December 2nd, there's a link down below in the description. You can save on teas and ebooks. I hope you have an absolute lovely, calm, peaceful December. Whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope you enjoy time with your loved ones and feel really good as we say goodbye to this year and move into a new one. Until next time, I'm rooting for you every step of the way.